once we get rolling here, after you're done, don't forget to go to shop.diamondkinetics.com. Check out the deal that Diamond Kinetics has going right now, where we get 6 months for free of premium hitter, premium pitcher subscription. Um, Hook it up with your sensor, hook it up with your smart baseball, and we're giving you 6 months from USA Baseball and from Diamond Kinetics. And my man, Chaz Pivot, how you doing?
What's up, Barley? How are you?
Wonderful, man. Sorry about the technical difficulties there. The issue was between the iPad and the chair, so I apologize.
No, I'm just glad it wasn't me because I was like, Megan, what do I do? I thought I was messing up, so all good.
Awesome, man. Well, it's good to see you. Hey, let's jump right into this, man. We got a good group jumping on here with us. Hey, first question, man, to get rolling. Something we can all relate to right now. We're all stuck inside with this pandemic going on. So, what are you doing, man? What's going on, with your time from a business perspective, from a home perspective? What are you doing on a daily basis right now?
Yeah, so right now, Baseball Rebellion and Softball Rebellion are shut down. I guess tomorrow will be 3 weeks. So we've had no in-person lessons in 3 weeks. We got very, very lucky, and we did get the payroll protection loan, so everybody's getting full pay, and they're all staying on, and that's why you're seeing so much content still coming out from us. We were nervous we're gonna have to lay everybody off. I mean, who has a business pandemic? Nobody. We don't. So obviously we were counting on that revenue coming in. Every day we're closed. Right now we're losing about $3,500. Which is pretty wild when you think about it. I mean, we just do so many lessons. And so right now what we're doing is we're shipping out a ton of products. We're doing a lot of Instagrams. We're doing a lot of Zooms. I was on a Zoom with Eugene Bleeker from 108 Performance today. It was 3.5 hours. Pretty wild. And I'm supposed to have a call with the infamous Jeff Fry tomorrow. So I'm excited about that.
Interesting.
So we'll see how that goes. But, it's just one of those things, man. We're trying to make sure that we're getting as much content as we can, but I'm spending a ton of time at home. I mean, I usually work 60, 70 hours a week. Now I'm probably working maybe 20 because I'm doing all the shipping and labeling and stuff. So if anybody orders anything from us and our shipping department messes up, it's my fault. Sorry about that. But yeah, I've been spending a lot of time with my sons, Bryant and Tyson. They're 6 and 3. And my wife, her name's Megan. So she's working from home right now, and her business also got the same protection, so she's okay for the next 8 weeks too. And it's just been stressful, man, trying to juggle the bills and make sure that you have your employees taken care of, because, they're like family in a small business like this. So, seeing them occasionally when they come in to use the internet and film video and stuff, and that's been good. But for the most part, we just want to make sure that we're doing the right thing, keeping everybody healthy, keeping everybody safe. And, we're in a weird situation. I mean, Diamond Kinetics is too. I mean, we have unique services that will help people get better during this time, but we don't want to come off in a bad way. We don't want to say, buy our products right now when people may be losing their jobs or maybe have bigger things to worry about than whether or not their swing is okay. So, that's what we've been doing, trying to balance that, but also trying to be fair to ourselves as a business to try to set ourselves up to be ready to come back when it's time to come back.
That's right. Yeah. And I think one thing that we take for granted is, when you think of local businesses, you think of that restaurant down the street, and you think of that guy, who started his own business. Hey, our hitting facilities, our baseball, softball facilities, they're in the same boat, man. They're getting, just hammered. You rely on that head count, that traffic, getting those people in, doing those remote lessons, and then when that dries up, when you can't go see people, right? You can't have people into your house. It's a real struggle. And one thing I know, you guys are really, really poised in a good position because you've been doing these remote lessons for a long time.
Yes.
So talk to me about that.
Absolutely. We've been doing FaceTime lessons and video sharing style lessons for almost 8 years. I mean, it's been a long time. I mean, I remember pretty much as soon as you could text a video on a phone, I started doing video sharing stuff with people. And then it really got big when Justin Ornduff and I were working together at Baseball Rebellion early on, and JK was there. Now JK is the head of all our online instruction. He does almost all the video sharing stuff that we do. And the rest of us work on mostly FaceTime basis. But yeah, I mean, we've been doing this so long. I mean, everybody and their brother's offering remote training now.
Right.
And, obviously I want those businesses to stay healthy and stay afloat, but as a consumer, I would want to go with somebody that's been doing this, that's not figuring it out on my dime. And Baseball Rebellion and Softball Rebellion is uniquely positioned to where we've been doing this a long, long time. And we're going to be able to do that service for you extremely well, especially if you have a Diamond Kinetics sensor or ball.
That's right. That's right. And I've had the opportunity to see you guys in action, right, with your live lessons. I was up at the facility. I think I was watching Eric Tyler one day break down some film, do some remote lessons with the guys. But, it really comes alive when you're able to see it. But how, what would you say? What's different, man? Because there's so many people out in the marketplace saying, hey, this thing's changed. This market dynamic has changed. I do remote lessons. I'm doing them for free. All this stuff. But what makes the Baseball Softball Rebellion experience different?
Well, one, we're not going to be calling your kid Slugger or Johnny or whatever, big guy. We're going to know your kid's name.
Right.
We're going to know what we worked on last week or the week before. We have a systematic progression for hitters and throwers just because we've been doing this so long. I mean, I have clients I've been working with 7, 8 years that I've never met, which is such a unique thing. When you finally do meet them, if they fly in from St. Louis or they fly in from LA or they fly in from New York or wherever, and you remember this like little kid that you started with, right? Or this 12-year-old girl, and now she's in college, or now, he's got a Division I scholarship to Penn State or whatever. I mean, it's just a fascinating thing to kind of have a real connection relationship with somebody that you've never met. And it's funny, like I'll go to like the Durham Bulls game, or Megan and I will be somewhere every once in a while if we're traveling with my parents or going somewhere, and we run into people all the time, like because I wear this everywhere I go. It's just it's like all my clothes. And
have you washed it this month? That's the real question.
Not this shirt specifically. And so, I'll be walking around. We were at a Yankee game, and this guy stops me, and he was like, "Hey, man, I've been watching your videos forever. Can I get a picture?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess." Thanks. But the thing is, like, they are trusting us with their children.
Right.
And, if you see Eric Tyler on video, or if you see me on video, and then you meet us in person, we're the same dude that you see on video. We're going to be nice to your kid. We're going to be friendly to you. We're going to answer your questions if we can. What's up, Grok? It's just one of those things. Like, we're real people and we really care, like right now, Eric's on the call, Tyler's on the call. I'm sure other guys will jump in from BR. We're excited about the partnership with Diamond Kinetics, but we're also excited to really let people know that, Radaman, what's up, that we're really real people and we really care.
Right.
And we're trying to actually help people, instead of maybe what some other people are doing, which is more negative.
Yeah, absolutely. And what our viewers need to know right now. Right. So when Chaz and I started this conversation, 4 or 5 weeks into this pandemic, Chaz and Tyler Zupsik and I are on the phone, and it's like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and Chaz is worried about, and his whole crew, right? There's kids in Durham right now that are going to not be at school for the next 3 weeks. How the heck are they going to eat, man? Like, let's figure out a way to scrap together some money and go help this community, right? So to understand from a viewer standpoint, right, where your heart's at in this situation, right? You're not out here trying to, hustle people and make money, right? You're doing a phenomenal service. These kids are getting better, but where your heart's at, where your organization's heart's at is really most important. And to me, that's what really, really jumped off the page, man. When we at Diamond Kinetics were like, hey, let's do this play at home program. Let's give back to the community that built our company, right?
Absolutely. And that's the same. My son's school is 90% free lunch. My wife and I are donating as much as we can to make sure these kids are eating. Unfortunately, some of these kids, their food is, lunch and breakfast at school, and we don't know what else. They're using the buses here and other places too, but using the buses here to distribute, worksheets and food for these kids on the bus route.
Right. That's awesome, man.
This is totally unprecedented. None of us know all the right answers. And I talk to business people all over the country. Some of them, that have hundreds of franchises of different things and whose companies did over $1 billion in revenue. And I'm asking these guys questions because I don't know if you guys know this. I started this as a baseball coach in a barn. I don't have a business degree. So I'll get to Jeff. I'm supposed to talk about Jeff here in a minute, everybody. But, I don't have a business degree. So, like, genuinely, I wanted to come into this to sit on a bucket and make kids better.
Yeah.
And then, fast forward, 6 years, we've got a building in Hillsborough. Fast forward another 6 years, we got a 13,000 square foot building that we bought in Durham. And we've got 9 employees, and we got guys getting married, guys buying houses, people with pregnant wives, like these people rely on us. But at the same time, I'm talking to my wife, and she's like about to cry because she's like, I just realized these kids aren't going to get food from Brian's class. These are kindergarten kids. So we wanted to make sure when we were doing this thing with Diamond Kinetics, yes, it's a service. Yes, it costs money. Yes, we want you to buy something. Yes, we do. We are a business, and we have people that we have to pay, but we also have people that we don't even know that we're trying to help.
Right. Absolutely. So, obviously this is, things have changed, man, the last couple of weeks, man, this pandemic, things are just really getting serious. So let's start transitioning into this. Let's look towards the future, look towards some positives here too. And so how do you foresee this changing the baseball industry, right? We're doing Instagram lives right now. We're doing, FaceTime lessons, all this stuff. How does this go on and change the industry in a positive direction moving forward?
Well, I'll speak first about my business, and I'll go bigger. Okay. So for instance, my local clients, why would they ever need a FaceTime lesson? They live 20 minutes from us. Right.
Right.
So some of them, like they're very successful. They play on, travel team, and they play high school ball or middle school ball, or they play basketball and travel ball at the same time, whatever. So, there would be times where people were just like, I don't have time to get in. It's that 20-minute drive each way and the 40-minute lesson. That's 80 minutes or 90 minutes. And then maybe you got to get dinner out. So now they realize, like, man, I can get a phenomenal, engaging experience through FaceTime where I can cut my drive time to 0. And I do have time for this now, So I've had numerous people say, during the season, this would be great to do, night before game if I've got a test or something and I can't get into the lesson.
Right.
We're going to start doing some really cool stuff for like our Baseball Rebellion Rebels Rack certified coaches, where we're going to be doing private Zooms just for them, where they're going to talk directly to me about exactly how they're implementing their rack training and their rotational certification and rotational skill training in their teams, in their facilities, with their own kids, however they decide to do it. I mean, I'm excited about Zoom. I'm excited about Instagram Live. I'm excited about FaceTime lessons. I mean, the game hasn't changed in this type of way maybe ever. And so the people who can be engaging online, the people who can show they actually care and let that come through the screen, not just be a good guy in person, because everybody who does what we do is nice and funny, and we tell stories and stuff like that. Like, we work with kids. Like, that's par for the course. Now you have to be able to set yourself apart. Can I make somebody better? Can somebody from Baseball Rebellion or Softball Rebellion, can we make you better if you can't ever meet us? The answer is yes. And that's what's so exciting about it, because and I know I'm on Diamond Kinetics thing, and I'm plugging their stuff, but I really believe this. If you got a smart ball, if you've got a swing tracker, we can actually show you're getting better.
Yeah.
Instead of you just thinking you might have got better because you're hitting off a tee in your garage. You can know if you want to work on your bat speed and you do a Rebels rack training, you are going to get better. This is, if you are doing Lacey's pitching program and you're working on spin, or you're working on new pitches, or you're working on axis of rotation with the ball, whatever, and you have that ball, you are going to get better. If you're working with Kyle and you're doing his plyo throws, and you built yourself a plyo wall, and you have a smart ball, am I throwing it harder? Is my spin efficiency right? Am I getting the break that I'm looking for in the direction that I want? I mean, you can't even really do that with video. You can't do it with a radar gun either. And for the price, $150, I know, retail, I know it's cheaper than that now, and in the bundle it's kind of included. But for that amount of money, I mean, I've been using a smart ball with my son Brian. He's only 6,
and he hit what lately?
He almost threw 50 the other day. 49.
Nice.
And
he's how old?
I said, "Is this any good?" Because I don't. So it sounded good. It popped the glove a little bit, but
he's
he
6.
thinks it's cool because it tells him if he's throwing it hard or not. And it's instead of me being like, "Hey man, throw it harder," it'll say 36, and he'll go, "Ooh, that was bad," and he'll throw a better one. and that's really cool. And I don't have to say anything to him about it. He knows, how many in a row can you get over 40? And then the thing tells him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't have to say that wasn't fast enough. I don't have to argue with my son, and I don't want to argue with him.
Well, and I think the big thing too is, man, when you got quality teaching, when you're surrounding yourself with good people who know the game, who are invested in you, building those relationships, it's the feedback, right? To be able to quantify that feedback, right? And that's the most important thing, because you guys, we know at Baseball Rebellion, are doing a tremendous job. And to be able to show them those numbers and improvement, and I'll plug you for a second here, right? So I got a good buddy of mine out in Florence, South Carolina, right? Brian and Hampton Naylor. And, they work with JK on a regular basis, and just being able to see those, those gains that they're making, and they rarely make it to the facility, right? So they're doing these remote lessons, fitting in with their schedules.
They've only been up like 4 times. I mean, you got to realize, for somebody to come from Florence, South Carolina, I mean, you're talking about like a 6-hour round trip.
Right.
That's a lot.
It is. Yeah, absolutely. There he is. What's up, Brian? I saw Tewksbury jumped on too.
Buddy? How are you?
Bobby Tewksbury's in the house. But yeah, man. So, all right. So I'm going to take this a little bit of a different direction, man. So I made these, and this is a little bit off script. Okay. So I made these questions, the quarantine 5, and then I realized when you put them on Instagram, it's backwards. So that's worthless. Right? So 5 fun questions, right? So first off, over under. Okay. Over under, plus or minus 10 pounds gained during quarantine for Chaz Pippitt.
Well, I am a robust 258 pounds in the morning. So that means by the end of the day, I'm probably 262. So I need to do some jumping jacks. But I'll tell you this, if you follow me on Twitter, June 30th, you're going to see me dunk on my birthday. So that's all that really matters.
Is that a regulation size ball, or is that a tennis ball?
I'm just training now. This is just training. Eric says hammer the over.
Yeah. Hey, well, I'll say I'm definitely trending towards the over right now. I'm hoping to curve that pretty soon. But all right. Second thing, and this is a great one, man. I've been starting off all my Zoom meetings lately with this question, but what's the craziest thing you've seen while you've been on quarantine?
Man,
can be out in public, can be at home, doesn't matter. No parameters.
I saw this lady in the grocery store in like what I thought was like a homemade hazmat suit, and I couldn't figure out how to take a picture of her without her obviously seeing it. She had these things on her face, and she was completely covered in plastic. Now, look, hey, maybe, in all seriousness, it was funny looking. Maybe she's immunosuppressed. I don't know. But it was absurd looking. Yeah. The other thing that's happened is my 3-year-old is going absolutely nuts. And so he just attacks my 6-year-old with no regard for his own safety. He'll jump off stuff and just attack him. So he's being a little crazy for sure. So trying to tackle him every once in a while and pull him off my 6-year-old has been a little challenging. But
it brings out the best in us.
6-year-old slam if he needs to, but he's a pretty nice kid, so he knows he'd get in trouble. So
that's right. Well, to answer that one, man, I'm going to reference my boy Travis Flory in Memphis, Tennessee. We were on a Zoom meeting the other day, and he tells me he walks into Walmart, and a lady's got a 5-gallon water jug and cuts the spigot off the top, cuts a square in the back of it, puts it right on top of her head, runs a snorkel through the top, and she's got her N95 mask, baby. So I said, man, that is Walmart in Memphis, Tennessee right there. So
that's about as Walmart as it gets.
Number 3, over under 3 times shaving in the past month, or moving forward until we're out of quarantine.
Well, if you count like this part of my face as shaving, then I shave almost every day. If you count this part of my face, then it's under. So, I did buzz my head a while back. I let my 3-year-old, my 6-year-old figure that out. So Garrett says I need some work in the back, but I can't see the back of my head, so I'm not that worried about it.
Yeah, that's all right.
I'm going to say under. I'm trying to get pretty grizzly.
All right. Yeah, I'm going under as well. I'm not shaving again until I get to see live baseball. My 3-year-old does not like that one. But hey, it is what it is. Number 4, favorite show you've binge watched during quarantine.
Oh, this is no doubt Tiger King.
Oh,
No, this
that
is
was my
easy.
follow-up.
I was trying to get. I'm thinking about changing my personal Twitter handle to Chaz Exotic. I'm all about Tiger King. I think it's really funny. Some of it's sad, but it's like you can't stop watching it. And they just came up with another episode. I watched that last night, and I found a couple podcasts that are talking about like the insides of Tiger King. I mean, it's just wild. So I would say Tiger King, but my wife and I actually watched a movie last night called The Lincoln Lawyer. Matthew McConaughey's
Oh
in
yeah.
it, and he
Yep.
drives
That's a good
around in
one.
this Lincoln car, and he's a lawyer, I
Yep.
guess, and I really like that movie. It was Ryan Felipe was in it. I haven't seen him since Cruel Intentions in the early 2000s, I guess. So I'm glad to see he's
That's a
still
name
active.
drop.
So yeah,
Nice.
my wife and I were like, look at this guy. So anyways.
Yeah. That was going to be my follow-up is have you watched Tiger King? But I haven't seen it yet. I've been kind of hooked on, let's see, Netflix, Narcos, and Ozarks are
Yeah,
my two. So
Ozark's awesome. I've been watching that. I'm a TV guy. I read a lot during the day, but I'm a TV guy at night, and I've watched The Wire all the way through 2 times. Breaking
nice.
Bad, I've watched. Big fan of The Sopranos. I need to get into Game of Thrones. I need to get into that. I haven't given that a shot yet. I've never
Yeah,
seen
I haven't seen
Game
it.
of Thrones.
Heard it's good. All right, last one. All right. What's the most uplifting story you've heard, during quarantine? People taking care of people, appreciating other people's, no parameters here. Most uplifting story during quarantine you've heard.
Man, just I don't know if there's really one that sticks out, but I've really enjoyed watching most of how the baseball community has tried to share information. Softball community has tried to share information and get information out to people in a more accessible way.
Mm-hmm.
I've been, a lot of our guys have been on different Zoom calls, listening to different people speak that are pretty high up in the game, whether they're coordinators or big league coaches, whatever, or whether young minor league coaches or college coaches. The pro players have tried to talk a little bit more maybe, and they're playing the MLB The Show games that people like, and
Right.
I think what's going to really be interesting now is people are starting to get restless. People are saying we need to.
Right.
Some people are saying we need to open up the country. Some people are saying we need to stay shut. I just hope everybody can really take a second and just breathe and realize that there's so much more important stuff to fight about than whether you swing up or down, or whether you
That's the truth.
it's just like let's try to find a way to come together in a better way and just be smarter about and more respectful with how we speak to each other and more open-minded with other people's points of view, because nobody really knows how everybody's handling this. I know for me it was really, really scary
Right.
and really, really hard until we got our loan. It's still scary. It's still hard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not home this much. I don't know how to be home 50 hours a week that I'm not home. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to play catch with my sons and go rollerblading and do ridiculous stuff with them and hang out with my wife and, trying to stay on top of Eric and Tyler and Garrett and everybody at Baseball Rebellion. I just want to try to find a way to communicate with as many people as I can in a positive way, because there's enough negativity going on right now. If you've got loved ones who are sick, or people who have loved ones who are sick or have lost their lives, this is a really scary time. I'm trying to figure out how to explain this stuff to my son, and they just want to go to defy gravity or jump on a trampoline at somebody's house, and they can't right now. And so
Right.
I just think for the most part, I've watched my wife really reconnect with some old friends, and I did the same thing this week. Because now you've got no excuse. So if you have somebody that you haven't reached out to in a long time, my advice: reach out to them, find out if they're okay, make their day, and it'll make your day too.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And there's so many great, just positive things coming out of this, man. And I found something the other day. I think my sister-in-law shot it to me, the Some Good News with John Krasinski. If you haven't seen it, it's on YouTube. Just search it. It's called Some Good News. And anyways, they honored some healthcare workers in Boston. And so actually in my town where I live, Huntersville, just on the north side of Charlotte, yesterday, they did a parade. We had all the cops, all the firemen from the 3 surrounding cities, and they did a parade of lights to the 4 hospitals in our town, just saying thank you to the healthcare workers. And I know my wife works in the emergency room here in Charlotte, and that was just meant the world to her, and obviously the healthcare workers in our area, man, they're doing it, man, putting themselves in the on the front line, and we're just so thankful for that. So, all right, man. So let's transition out of quarantine 5. Next question. And I know you and I have had this discussion a lot, but why Diamond Kinetics, man? Why did we team up, Baseball Rebellion, Softball Rebellion, and Diamond Kinetics? And what metrics do you think are important from a hitting standpoint?
Well, I think we teamed up because you guys have the most versatile product line, in my opinion. I love the 2 balls, and
Mm-hmm.
I also love the sensor. And I've known Diamond Kinetics for a long time, maybe even longer than you've been with Diamond Kinetics.
Yep.
And the improvement over time with the accuracy and the ease of use of Diamond Kinetics is nothing short of stunning.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be tough to use. Now it's awesome. It's easy. It's almost idiot proof. I say almost because even I use it. So, you can find out, your impact momentum, which is a big one that I really like. Your approach angle. I love swing fingerprint. I can't say that loud enough.
Yeah.
Understanding in 3 dimensions, in 27 cubes, I think it's 27 cubes,
It
where
is.
your bat is, how it's working, the direction's working, and how good or not good are you at doing good things in those different zones. And it's just such a fascinating product to watch it from where it was to where it is, and the
Yeah.
effort and time and energy that's been put into like making the app better, making the new bat holder, the thing that it goes on, that. Thank you. I didn't know what to call that. That's really easy to use. Making
High
it
performance
compatible with
mountain.
axe bats. So many kids use axe bats, and use so much.
Yeah.
It is, just stuff like that. It's just been a great. And then the balls are out of this world. I mean, the balls are accurate. They work. They seem to be pretty durable. And I say seem to be because my son hasn't broken the ball yet. And the one thing I learned with product testing, because obviously we sell launch angle tee, Rebels rack, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
We tested the launch angle tee with most of our pros, okay, and our college hitters, because they swing the hardest, right? Well, they also hit
Right.
the ball. We needed to test it with little kids that miss
Mm-hmm.
the ball and smash the tee. So when my son can use this ball and I can pair it in 5 seconds and get it talking to us before he's even walked far enough away to throw the first ball,
Right.
that's pretty freaking sweet. And that was not the case years ago, and that's what it is now, and that's really, really cool.
Yeah, well, that's a shout out to our dev team and our product testing team. And, it's definitely come a long way because I think that was maybe 4.5 years ago, right? That, we first hooked up with you and started working together and everything. And, it's got to get better. The products have continued to get better over the years, and they will continue. There's some really exciting stuff under the hood that'll be coming that we're really excited to run out with, with Baseball and Softball Rebellion, get you guys to test it out and things like that. Hey, so let me stop real quick and say, guys, if you guys have questions, so viewers, feel free to drop those questions, and we'll cover those with Chaz here at the end. And then, next question, Chaz, tell me the Chaz Pippitt story, man. You know, from playing to coaching to doing lessons in a barn to Baseball Rebellion, Softball Rebellion today. Give us that progression, man. Give us, what do we need to know about that process?
Well, growing up, I was a basketball player, and I really wasn't into baseball, really. I started playing a little when I was older than most, and, next thing I know, I got a bunch of scholarship offers, and I'm at NC State, and I looked around at NC State, and there were 26 pros in that locker room, and I wasn't one of them. So I didn't stay at NC State very long. When you don't know simple things like to back up first base when you're playing right field on a grounder to third,
Right.
because you're looking at the third baseman, he's a ninth rounder. You're looking at the first baseman, and he's a draft guy, and you're like, what do I need to back up for? They're going to make it, but they're going to make this play. But at the same time, you still got to know to do it. And I was raw. I didn't know to do it. So I got my share of chewings out at NC State. I ended up leaving to try to play basketball at UNC Asheville. That ended up not working out, so I played baseball there poorly, or averagely, I guess. I was a pretty average college player. I stopped playing baseball after 4 years, graduated, moved to Durham with my wife, and the rest is history. And I didn't know what I was going to do. You're going to love that ball. And yes, we work very closely with the Swifts at NC State. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I was like mowing lawns and stuff like that. And, it's one of those things where my wife was a temp, and I was like, I know this guy. He's my roommate at Asheville. He was a freshman at NC State. Let's figure this out. Maybe this is a good thing for me to do with his dad. He was doing like beach camps for kids, and I started doing that. And one thing led to another. Here we are. I did 9,000 something lessons in a barn, working 6 or 7 days a week, every week. If it was cold, I'd cut down a tree and build a fire. And moms would come bring their kids out even in the cold. So it's one of those things where it's grown over time. We've been able to get a lot more technology in the buildings, obviously, than outside. I was using a little flip camera and a laptop outdoors. Does anyone know what a flip camera is?
Oh, yeah.
But I was always trying to be a little bit of a step ahead. And I played with JK, and his brother was really struggling. And I said, hey, why don't you bring him up here? So he brings him up here. And I want to say his brother went from hitting 1 home run to 13 home runs in a year. And then those 2 summers, he hit a ton of home runs. And then I think he hit 17 home runs, was actually the smallest guy in the Legion Home Run Derby one year. So, and then that was years and years ago. So if I'm butchering those facts, forgive me. But close enough. He went from a kid who was unrecruited to a kid who got to play 4 years college baseball, and that's pretty sweet. So
nice.
And then JK worked for me and still does. And, we've really been a family. He's lived in my house. Almost all the instructors that have ever come here, except for Tyler, Eric, and Garrett, they've lived in my house at one point, so they could get on their feet, not have to pay rent. We've had pro guys stay for months at a time. My wife is a saint for allowing that kind of stuff to happen. And, so I'm very, very appreciative. And now we're just truly just grind on the hitting side and the pitching side. And we're trying to get softball off the ground with Lacey, who was National Player of the Year at Florida State and a national championship winning coach at Oklahoma. She's super young and super awesome. So I made her bring her National Player of the Year trophy in, and Eric sometimes tapes Instructor of the Month on it instead of Player of the Year. So,
and I'll plug in there because it's, one thing that becomes really apparent. All right, 2 things when you walk in the facility, really. One is it's probably the cleanest hitting facility I've ever been in. The organization to set up the layout is just extremely efficient. It's nice, man. There's technology everywhere, right? So it's, the instant feedback is everywhere. You got screens up behind your cage. You got machines. Everything is dialed in, man. It's really buttoned up. And the second thing is, man, you just take 5-10 minutes, speak to each one of those instructors, and that there's a very clear-cut purpose. There's a very clear-cut process, right? And we know what that desired end result is, and so it's, when I think of the development and the evolution of Baseball Rebellion, how has that developed from the time you're working in a barn to now? Because it's so dialed in.
Sure. So the biggest thing that ever happened at Baseball Rebellion, without a doubt, and we wouldn't even be talking if this didn't happen, is the Rebels Rack. We've sold so many of those things, and they work so well. And if you actually take the time to use the product correctly, get certified in how to use the product, and use it, it's just, there's no better way to generate more exit velocity and more rotational skill. If there was a better way, still looking. We're trying other things. We tried weighted bats and speed sluggers and underload, overload, and we've tried everything. Nothing works as fast as a rack if you're willing to do the time in the movement, if you're willing to gain a technical advantage over your opponents and your teammates. Everybody hits, everybody throws, everybody fields, everybody runs bases. Nobody works on rotational skill. And if you take the time in front of the mirror to gain rotational skill and become excellent in understanding directional rotation and split stance balance, okay, this is such a game changer for you as a player or you as a coach to give that 5 to 10 minutes every day to your players or yourself, because it sets you apart. It makes it more functional and more valuable if you do the rotational skill first, it's like taking 3 swings for every one if you're a numbers guy. So I want my players to be efficient. I want them to have an advantage. And once we really dialed in the process of the rack, which has changed a lot over time, thanks to some of my younger guys like Eric and Tyler and JK. JK's not one of my younger guys, but them and Garrett, them pushing me to think about some different things and be smarter with how we rotate and understand, like, hey, we're not just rotating to rotate, we're rotating to hit. So it might not be the perfect rotation the way I want it, but if it hits better, then that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
the rack and the development of the skills behind the rack and the verbiage, the language of learning we use here at Baseball Rebellion and Softball Rebellion to make hitters understand the importance of doing their homework and how to turn, that's really the key.
Yeah, well, and we had this discussion sometime in the last week, and it's not necessarily that you're going to be right every time, right? It doesn't matter who's right in hitting, right? It doesn't matter if this guy or that guy is right. It's about those individual relationships with those guys, you know, seeing those improvements. And one of the things that jumped off the page to me in the conversation with you was, hey, yeah, 2, 3, 5, 7 years ago, yeah, we've changed some of the things we're doing. All right. Some of the things we said 5, 7 years ago, we don't believe anymore. Right. But having the self-awareness, dropping your ego and your pride for a little bit and saying, you know what, we found more efficient ways. We found better ways to do things.
You're exactly right. And one thing we do at Baseball Rebellion that I think really separates us from a lot of other places is when we fail, we leave that article up and we put a little blurb at the top that says, we now do it a different way. You can read this if you want. If you want the most up-to-date information, click here. I mean, there was an article I wrote a while back, and I was so confident in it and so excited about it, and I was dead wrong. And I stood up on YouTube and let this guy next to me who doesn't work for me anymore just absolutely trash my article. And he doesn't work for me for other reasons, but he was right about this. And I stood right there and took it. He was right. I was wrong. End of discussion. It doesn't matter, who is right. We want to get it right.
That's right.
And I've had to make some changes with some of the things that I thought were, absolutes. Thanks to Eric and thanks to Tyler and Garrett and JK, having the confidence in me and confidence in themselves to come to me and say, hey, Chaz, we think this needs to be done differently. Here's why. And they were right. So
yeah, no, absolutely. And it's that growth mindset, man. And one thing the vibe the impression that I get going into Baseball Softball Rebellion is that growth mindset, right? We're going to do whatever it takes to grow, to make these players better. And it's not about ego, right? As opposed to many people, that hop on social media and start throwing jabs and doing all this mess, right? It's just about making that individual better, investing in that relationship, and finding ways to improve, man. And I think that's where, to me, Baseball Softball Rebellion has done such a tremendous job. So outside of that, the Rebels rack, right? You got Launch Angle T, Drive Developer, Bat Drag Busters, BR Premium. Talk through some of these other products. What benefit is that bringing to my 10, 12-year-old out in Florence, South Carolina that's doing remote lessons, or my, high school, pro, college guy that's, sitting at home and really wanting to improve? So talk me through that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about the rack and rotational skill. I mean, it's an absolute game changer. If you never ever buy a product from me, but you only buy one thing, it's the rack and the certification. I know you may not need to be certified, but you'll learn so many things about how to train yourself if you're a player from that cert. It's just fascinating. The Bat Drag Buster works with neural reaction training. So instead of like putting a bar between your elbows, okay, and then making them work together and have space, they actually pull them in. So most kids, especially when they're young, their elbow kind of drops and they end up like this and they get in a bad spot. The tension helps them learn how to turn the barrel behind them and really get that feel. They have to create the solution instead of have the solution created for them.
Right.
The Drive Developer is a wrist strengthening tool. It'll help with your ulnar deviation and radial deviation and strengthen those movements, making you stronger in your pronation, supination if you need to. I mean, I think that's really, really important. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that I think can be helpful for people who need more strength, but it's not as valuable a hitting tool as I initially thought it was. And I used the heck out of it, and I still use it now on certain occasions. The launch angle tee, you know, everybody freaks out about the launch angle. I mean, every ball has a launch angle. Whether you run it or hit a home run, it's a measurement. Like, that's like saying I don't believe in heights or I don't believe in weight. I told my wife I don't believe in weight after I got on the scale last night. So that was my problem. But
Quarantine
you know,
15, baby.
yeah. So, you know, the thing is, every ball has a launch angle. We called it the launch angle tee. It was down to two names. I've actually never told anybody this. I was going to call it the tilted tee. And had I called it the tilted tee, I'd probably have a lot more hair and I've sold a lot more tees because, good Lord, some of these coaches hate the word launch angle. That's okay. Basically, what it does is it just shows more baseball or softball. You know, so if you like hitting the ball instead of hitting the tee, you'll love my tee. If you prefer to hit the cone of the tee, you're not going to like my tee very much. Sorry.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm really good at that.
Yeah, I was good at hitting the tee too. You know, and you're not supposed to knock the tee over. My tees are light. You're not supposed to knock the tee over when you hit off the tee. You're supposed to hit the ball, not the tee. So if you're knocking the tee over, the tee is telling you something you're missing. So stop doing that. Change your target and learn how to actually hit the ball.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and it's, you know, it's funny. I was watching our boy A-Rod, you know, talk to Barry Bonds on a video earlier about launch angle, and it's discussion. But you know, one thing is, and I've always believed this being in coaching, right? When you have a coach, 100% passionate and bought into what they're doing, than I would a guy that has all the fundamentals, teaches it perfectly, but doesn't get after it. You know, doesn't have that you know, that excitement, that energy and stuff. And so one of the things that's really, you know, impressive to me, in that you walk in the Baseball Softball Rebellion building, they know what they're talking about, and the energy level is through the roof. You know, and so it's right. And so, you know, to me, it's you know, when you bring that energy, man, you know, like hearing that bell ring when you're setting your PRs, and, you know, I mean, that type of stuff, man, it's just, you create that environment. You walk into that environment where it is a growth mindset, right? We're trying to push one another. We're trying to improve, right? And how is that developed? How do you build that inside your building, inside of your organization?
Well, I think one of the things that people need to realize is when you work with somebody at Baseball Rebellion, might be our ninth 40-minute lesson of the day, but it's your first one. And we have an opportunity every time you walk in the door to make an impact in your career, and we're going to try to do that. And it doesn't happen every time, but we're going to try. And you're going to get our best effort. You're going to get high energy. You're going to get people that care about you, that we're going to know your sister's name. We're going to know your mom's name. We're going to know your name. We're going to, you know where you go to school and ask you questions that make sense. You know, we're going to invest our time. I tell the kids all the time, you know, if you hit with somebody at Baseball Rebellion, okay, you're going to give us 40 minutes a week during the week, and we're asking for 10 minutes a day other than that. Okay, so in 120 minutes, we'll say 110 minutes, you're going to give us 2 hours. And in exchange, my instructors and I on the hitting side are going to give you over 200 hours of teaching and researching and learning. And if you'll give 2, we'll give you 200. That's a great trade.
Yeah.
And so we give that 200 to every single kid, because every time they come in, we're prepared. We know what they did last time. We know what they're going to do this time. And as long as they communicate about their results, we can obviously change on the fly if that needs to happen based on games. But there's no games right now. Right now, we get to build your engine. We get to build your confidence. We get to prepare you mentally and physically so that when baseball and softball comes back, you're as ready as you can be. And when you're in lessons with us, we're trying to prepare you that exact same way. We want you to have an advantage over every person that you step on the field with, whether they have your uniform on or somebody else's uniform, because you're all competing for those scholarships and those draft spots.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And, you know, and one plug on DK, and then I'm going to kind of hand it over to you for some closing comments as we kind of reach the end here. But, you know, we've got a program put together with Baseball Rebellion. You know, talk to me about that just real quick. The DK swing tracker comes with the free, you know, the online swing analysis and all that stuff. So talk to me about the DK Baseball Rebellion package real quick.
Yeah, so basically there's a couple different ones you can get. If you need a ball or a swing tracker and you just want to get the ball and the swing tracker for as little as possible, get a little bit of advice, a little bit of analysis, you can buy that, and we'll do a one-time analysis for you. Break your swing down, break your pitch down, break your throw down, whatever. And we can obviously do that to you. One thing that I want to point out, though, is if you are a girl, you all throw overhand. So there's nothing wrong with getting an overhand throwing analysis done too. And there's such an opportunity for female throwers to throw the ball harder. Kyle's our overhand throwing specialist, and he works all of our boy pitchers, our baseball player pitchers, and our overhand throwing girls. And what we're trying to get them to understand is they can absolutely throw the ball so much harder. I was talking to a good friend, SEC coach, a while back, and I said, can you tell me what your average throwing velocity is on your team for a position player? She said about 65. So, ladies, that is very attainable for you with a big softball. Like, we have young girls, 14-year-old girls throwing 62 miles an hour. You can get into the 70s and have a plus tool almost with very little work and just a little bit of training. So I wanted to say that. Or you can go for a bigger package where you get 3 months of online lessons, a Rebels rack, and a swing tracker. Or 3 months of online lessons, a ball, a set of arm care bands. It's just so much opportunity, and that's a little bit cheaper. I want to say it's $279. The other one's $299.
Correct.
Regular prices would be well over $400, close to $500. We've got to make money. We're a business, and so does Diamond Kinetics. But we also understand the situation, and we're trying to discount things as much as we possibly can to get these in people's hands so they can find out how good distance training can be and how much advantage they can really have if they're willing to do the right things instead of do nothing, which a lot of people are doing. They're just getting these fingers real strong playing on video games, or just hitting off a tee and hoping that's enough. Get some guidance. Find out what you can really work on. Measure something and take action to fix it. Don't just blast away off the tee and just hope you're doing something good. What if you practice wrong what if you're practicing wrong for 3 months? What if your barrel speed's down? What if your attack angle's worse? Like, you can get worse in this time by practicing wrong, just like you can get better by practicing correctly. So, the choice is yours. Take the time and invest in yourself, invest in your career, and put some distance between you and your competition. Because right now, if you can just get a little bit better, not like this, just get a little bit better, everybody else is doing this. They're sitting at home. They're finding reasons why they can't do stuff. I can't go to the gym. I can't go to the field. Okay, what can you do? Find a way to get better. Stop making excuses and do something for yourself that's going to impact you for years to come.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And the biggest thing here, man, is understanding where Baseball Rebellion, Softball Rebellion is coming from, man. They're doing everything they possibly can to help you guys, right? To help the audience, help these players improve. They got the tools in place, right? Go to shop.diamondkinetics.com. We're giving you 6 months of free premium pitcher subscription for nothing, right? Teaming up with USA Baseball, they're giving you 3 months. We're giving you 3 months, right? So there's really no excuse, man. You get $10 off the sensor, or go on Chaz's site, go on baseballrebellion.com. You can pick up the package, get a free online lesson looped in with the cost of your swing tracker sensor, get that 6 months free from Diamond Kinetics. And man, this is a great opportunity for players to go out and improve in this time, like Chaz is saying, man. So Chaz, we got about 2 minutes, man. Give me some closing comments, because really, really appreciative for you coming on tonight.
Yeah, no problem. We had a few questions on here. The Play at Home Initiative in San Diego, yeah, we can absolutely help with you, 5-tool. If you can send me a DM, I can help you with that. Yes, we work on NCAA softball. Each player has a rack, I believe, and they actually hired a Baseball Rebellion certified, Rebels Rack certified coach.
Nice.
I got asked by
and they drop bombs, by the way.
MC. Yeah, I know. I'll hit them back. I got asked by a girl named MC who her favorite lesson that I ever had in the history of my life is. Man, that's a tough one.
Manny.
You want me to say you, MC, but I'm gonna say Manny Ramirez. I'm sorry. He's cooler than you. But you're tied for second with everybody else I've ever worked with. But I mean, look, in all seriousness, I'm happy to get on here with Dime Connects. And, JD, if you guys ever need anything from me or any of my guys, let me know. Ronnie Dawson, that's a good one too, Ratterman. But that's the thing. I mean, we are here to help baseball and softball players hit, throw, and pitch better. If you have a question, we're going to help you as much as we can. If you're willing to do some simple things like get a rack and train, you will get better. And if you're willing to do simple things like get a sensor, measure it, for the cost of a sensor, there's very little excuse. I mean, most of the people play baseball and softball now. They got $300-400 bats. I don't want to hear you don't have the money for a sensor. Most of you do. Some of you don't. Most of you do. But we're also the kind of people, if you've really put in time with us for a long time and you really need help, we're going to make sure you get help. So the bottom line is, please check out these initiatives. Help us help other people. And, one of the things about Launch Angle T a lot of people don't know, we built a 3D printing facility in a third world country that 3D prints prosthetic legs off of the sale of Launch Angle Tees. So we're not here just for baseball, softball. We have bigger plans for what we want to do from a giving perspective, from a charity perspective, and that's never going to stop. We're good people that work here at Baseball Rebellion, Softball Rebellion, and, we can't apologize for being a business, but we put out more free content than anybody. I'll put that out there right now. Mm-hmm. Go to our website. If you find somebody that's put out more free content than us the last 4 or 5 years, I want to know about it because I don't know about it. And, bottom line, we want to help people, and that's what we've tried to do, and that's what I've tried to do as a man, as a husband, as a father, as a coach for young girls and young boys and pros. I mean, we are all in for your development all the time.
Awesome, man. Chaz, I appreciate you, buddy. This is, always an honor to speak to you. You have a cult following, right? We're going to do a lot of really big things here in the near future once we get out of this pandemic thing. And, keep on keeping on, man. Keep grinding through it. We appreciate you guys, and thank you for coming on.
You do the same, man. Mamba out.
Awesome.